Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 29th, and right now we are looking at the Half Moon Peak Doppler radar there across southwest BC. You can see this precipitation moving across the area. If you notice these beams, that's just hitting some kind of an object there, maybe cell towers or some of the terrain features there along Vancouver Island. You can also check it out here at Aldergrove, British Columbia. You can kind of see how the beam is hitting some kind of an object there, and as it points off to the north as well as you're going towards the higher terrain. That's a major limitation of Doppler radars. Once it runs into the terrain, you can't see what's on the other side. So here is Camano Island, Western Washington. You can see the precip moving across the region. Here's the Langley Doppler radar. And of course, there's no terrain features out over the ocean, so you can see what is coming quite a ways out there. Portland, there is the coastal range here. So these beams do run pretty high. If you want to see what's going out over the ocean, it's not that great. But you can also see we had a nice swath of rainfall moving across the Willamette Valley this morning. And you can also see that on the Medford Doppler radar. And if you look at Pendleton too, at the end of its loop, you can kind of see that moving across the Cascades. Also, we have Doppler radars across Spokane, portions of Idaho and Montana as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual satellite imagery. We got the frontal system rolling through here. It is arrived. We've already got some measurable precipitation at Seattle today, and we're going to take a look at those totals coming up here. And it's going to be close because the record is 0.17, and some of the models are showing right around a quarter of an inch. Taking a look at this weather station here. This is the WeatherFlow weather station here that I've been advertising for a bit. And you can see, you can click on this and you can see how much rain is accumulated today. It'll even tell you how long it's been raining for, and you can check in, towards Aberdeen or Hoquiam as well. You can scroll all over the place and look at your individual location. And this is my house here, and you can kind of see how it updates every 5 minutes. It tells you how much it's raining. And at my house right now, we're at 0.04 of an inch right now, and coming up on about 8:15 a.m. And you guys are killing it here. We are getting close to 66,000 subscribers. We picked up quite a few subscribers, almost 3,000 now in just the last 10 days, I believe. So keep it up. Click that subscribe button down to the left. It is free to do so. And if you want to monetarily support the channel, click that join button. So take a look at the fire risk today. You can see this is mostly pushed off to the east. We're not going to worry about that too much right now. Just want to continue to show that and be consistent. But take a look at Spokane National Weather Service. There is a chance for a kind of a straight thunderstorm today. We're not talking about a lot of lightning, and there is some precipitation associated with it. Then we go dry and mainly sunny here. Then we start to warm up. Another heat wave, smoky skies, temperatures perhaps returning to the 100-degree mark or plus for eastern Washington and eastern Oregon. And if we take a look at Seattle yesterday, 69 degrees, 10 degrees below average. And we're going to be below average again here today. And again, we're running for that record there set back in 1973, the all-time precipitation record for the date. And I believe in all the records for SeaTac, it's never rained on both the 29th and the 30th. And so it looks like we're going to get a little bit of precipitation tomorrow, as a couple of showers will probably roll through. So that would be another very interesting feat. And you can see it's the driest time of the year here for SeaTac in much of the Pacific Northwest. End of July, that is peak dry season here. And you can see November is peak wet season here. So we go through a pretty steep incline there as we move on in through September, October, and on into towards November. Now, taking a look at the European, let's take a look at what last night showed. You can see that system moving through now, and then quickly we're going to start to rebuild this ridge here. Still a little bit of a flattening to the ridge as we have, some strong onshore flow across some northern portions of British Columbia here. Then we start to really relax that gradient. We build the ridge across the lower 48 and a pretty impressive high pressure system there across some of the Intermountain West, and that's going to extend up into the Pacific Northwest and allow us to really warm up. We'll take a look at some of those temperatures here in a moment, and we'll compare some models. But the National Weather Service has been doing a pretty good job here, and Seattle's not seen measurable rain between July 27th and August 1st in the last 15 years. 2008 was the last year that did occur. And this one here is also mentioning the very warm July we've been having so far. We are number 2 all time. 70.4 and 70.6 was back in 2015. But we're probably going to drop down to 4th here because we're obviously wrapping it up a little bit cooler than normal. And also a couple other areas are having the chance to reach some record precipitation, like Olympia. 1,207 inch set back in 2008. Bellingham 410 set back in 1955. Hoquiam back in 2001 got 0.37. So all those records could possibly fall. I don't know if we'll get that one at Quileute set back in 2008 also, but interesting stuff there. Now looking at the European as of last night, I'm going to play through this. You can see Bellingham getting up towards 4/10 of an inch. Seattle will be breaking the record here as we go through the afternoon. You can see the record will be falling there at Hoquiam as well. And the European, it's kind of been on the high side of the precipitation here. We'll see how that goes. Let's scroll back towards 7 o'clock this morning. There's 8. So we're actually a little bit ahead of SeaTac S400s of an inch. Same at my house, which is nearby. We are a little bit ahead of schedule according to the European, and that should be picking up a little bit here as we go through the later morning and afternoon hours. And the North American model, this is a high resolution model, and as we go through the late morning hours, you can see we do get to 1800s of an inch right about the noon hour, and it kind of slows down here, so just barely breaking that record. You can see some of the better amounts across the Cascades and the Olympic Mountains, Bellingham area showing a half an inch. And if we take a look at the high resolution rapid refresh, this one runs every hour, and every 6 hours it goes out 48 hours. Calling for about 1/4 of an inch for Seattle, about 1/3 of an inch there for Hoquiam, and about 0.36 for Bellingham. So pretty close to some of these records. It also shows some of this rain shadowing here as we go through the day today and on through tonight. Now, taking a wider look at things here, let's take a look at what the high-resolution model is saying. It does bring a little bit of precipitation in some portions of eastern Washington and Oregon as we go on in through today and in through tomorrow. You can kind of see the showers continuing on as we go through Tuesday, and then we're going to start to build the ridge across the area. So take a look at Seattle-Tacoma. Again, the European right around 4/10 of an inch is in the mean. They control a little bit less. And National Blended Model says right about 2/10 of an inch here, very close to that record. And then this would be the high temperature for today in the 60s. Tomorrow reaching about 70. And then you can see the bump up in temperatures as we go through the later portion of the week and on into this weekend. We're going to get pretty downright warm here across the area. More on that here in a moment. Hoquiam, something similar there as well. We talked about that. Here's Bellingham also. Spokane trying to tease a little bit. The ensemble, European ensemble runs here did bump up a little bit here. So crossing my fingers, we can get a little bit of rainfall over there and damper the dust down there for a little bit. Tri-Cities, we're not talking about much. Most of the ensembles have nothing. At best, probably a couple hundredths of an inch or so. Portland International, not bad. Maybe 1/4 of an inch here as well. And this is Astoria out on the Oregon coast. You can see up towards 4/10 of an inch. So here we are looking at 10,000 feet. This is actually last night's run. Let's back up a little bit here because I want to show you something interesting. This is the system here. You can kind of see that colder air moving across the region, kind of a subtle feature. These fronts are pretty weak at this time of year. And then we start to scroll through the week here, and you can kind of see the temperatures increase across the Intermountain West as we scroll on in through Thursday night and on into Friday. That is that huge ridge and that big dome of high pressure here that is really going to allow us to warm up across much of the region here. But we always have that chance here when the ridge is far enough off to the east, we can continue to kick that onshore flow. So we're not looking at any big offshore flow, wind events, or anything like that here upcoming in the short term, or at least in the first week of August. Now, taking a look at a wider view of things, this is North American map. You got the European on the left versus GFS on the right. We're again looking at 18,000 feet or 500 millibars. Here goes our system as we go through the day today, and the ridge starts to build, stays flat for a day or so, but then it really starts to ramp up here. Pretty impressive ridge across the lower 48, and then as you start to look a little bit off into the future here, you can kind of see that confidence is going to go down a bit, but still pretty good model agreement. It shows a pretty good ridge up there across southeast Alaska up into northwest Canada. So taking a look at the Canadian, let's just look at this for the heck of it and kind of compare. There goes our system today, and we start to build that ridge here. You can see it develop across the Intermountain West here in much of the west of the USA, across some of the Central Plains. And it's a fairly strong ridge, but again, there's going to be that cat and mouse game going on here on how much onshore flow we're getting, especially for western portions of British Columbia down into western Washington and western Oregon with that potential onshore flow. And then the Canadian wants to swing some kind of a trough through western BC here, which we kind of dampen our temperatures as well. So looking at the National Blended Models, here's today, Monday. Then you can see the gradual warm up as we go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Seafair weekend for Seattle. Nice and warm it looks like. And let's take a look at the rest of the region here. 68 degrees today. There's Tuesday's warm up, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Check it out. Some 90s returning to western Washington, some mid 90s for the Willamette Valley. And yeah, we're going to be dealing with these temperatures again, pretty excessive temperatures showing up here as we go through this weekend for eastern Washington. Look at that 107 for the Tri-Cities. You can see Moses Lake 106 Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe a little bit of a cool down there at least. Bring those lofty heights back down there for eastern Washington. 6 to 10 day, no surprise here. The above average signal will be there, and you see the below average signal here. And I don't know if they're trying to bring some monsoon moisture back up in here. We'll worry about that here coming up. But yeah, I would take that with a grain of salt if you're down across the southern region watching this one. Also check out the California Weather Watch channel just in case you are a California viewer watching this one. So take a look at this is what's coming up here. You can see the heat coming and see NW5, 6, and 7 start to ramp up these elevated fire conditions as we go through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on in through the weekend here. But we're not looking at any major lightning-caused fire threat or critical burn environment as of right now. But anyway, yeah, great stuff here. Late July, driest time of the year, bringing some rainfall in here. Don't have to water the garden for a couple days maybe. Yeah, so interesting stuff. Otherwise, yeah, keep clicking subscribe down there below. Click that like button. Share it with your friends here. The word is getting out across Pacific Northwest. And I hope you guys are having a good day otherwise. And we'll do this all again tomorrow. And I will talk to you guys then.